Things have not been the same since 2020. You look at any aspect of life, you look at working, we all work, you know, you look at relationships, we all have different relationships. Um, you look at the future, um, just being optimistic about your future. Nothing has really seemed the same.
Nothing has been the same since 2020. I wonder why. Guys, today's video comes from Alter Ego Sean. His channel will be linked in the description of the video. The video was sent over to me by Mayumi's husband, and it really illustrates the fact that people are beginning to wake up and realize that the world has not been normal since the events of 2020. Watch to the end of the video to fully understand the implications of this, why so many people are waking up, and how this will collectively change our future going forward. Alter Sean's channel will be linked in the description so you can go and check him out. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
What's good with y'all? Alter Ego Sean, hope y'all doing well. Things have not been the same since 2020. You look at any aspect of life, you look at working, we all work, you know, you look at relationships, we all have different relationships. You look at the future, just being optimistic about your future. Nothing has really seemed the same. And I don't know why that is exactly. I think something that has to do with it is we all were able to, for at least a half a year, sit at home every day and kind of see, man, like, I'm working my life away. Man, I really don't see my family as much as I should. Man, bro, I think so many people came to the realization of so many different things during that can I say, I'm not even going to try it, but during 2020, you know, when we had to kind of just be away from everyone. And it's crazy because 4 years later, nothing really seems the same. And I don't think people really talk about it. You know, we're in another pandemic right now where people just don't want to work. And people want to say it's Gen Z or it's just younger people. It's older people who don't want to work too. It's older people who are tired of being sick and tired, you know. And it's kind of leaving everyone with the question of what now? Well, what do I do now? I know this isn't what I want to do. What do I want to do now?
So, one of the things that I will collectively agree with him on is that the notion of not wanting to work is not solely upon Gen Z. Now, don't get me wrong, Gen Z really does not want to work. Even if they are paid fairly, they don't actually want to work. They do not find purpose from meaningful work. And they're a very odd generation. They find purpose from just chilling, going on adventures, laying around and sleeping, basically living off someone else's dime. But in general, the average person today, regardless of what generation they're in, are sick and tired of how life is going. The fact that some people make substantial amounts of money, but the areas that they live in, the rent is still insanely high. So it's like, the more you make, the more they take. And it's hard to ever truly get ahead. For example, there's some people who say they make $200,000 a year, but it's very hard to live where they are currently living, you know? And here's the thing. If you're in that type of situation and you're making that kind of money, you really have to start looking into living with family or living in a van, renting a room or whatever. The sad thing is, though, for example, in New York, it can easily cost $3,000 to $5,000 to rent a single room in New York with roommates. You've heard me right. In New York, it can easily cost between $3,000 and $5,000 for a simple room, and that's in like the borough of somewhere like Brooklyn. In Manhattan, you can easily spend $10,000 a month renting a room. And I'm not exaggerating at all. That is just how harsh it is when it comes to the cost of living in places like New York City, in places like Los Angeles. Even Houston, Texas is expensive these days. It's hard. It's really, really hard. Forget about San Francisco. You may have homeless people pooping everywhere, but the rent is still too damn high. And we were told you will own nothing and be happy. The thing is, they're basically saying what they're really trying to convey to everyone is you will own nothing and be quiet. All right? Or else. And it's a frightening reality that we are continually going down the path of socialism, which leads to communism, which leads to Marxism, which leads to totalitarianism, which is basically authoritarianism. Okay, so basically, it leads to total and utter control, scuffing out the human spirit, taking away pretty much every single freedom, and basically a society like North Korea. This is not how prosperity builds, though. And I think what they're really pushing for is where you'll have two classes: a class of the despicably rich and the desperate poor. And this is something that someone actually told me years ago, that this was where we are going. This is very much where we're headed right now. It's increasingly difficult to even find meaning in your work anymore, because the companies that you work for, they're just focused on profit. All of these billion-dollar companies, the wealthiest companies in the world, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, they've been firing like crazy. If you look at the gaming industry, tech industry, they're firing like crazy. The same companies that are recording record profits have been dumping tens of thousands of employees at every single go. How is that possible? Well, it's simple, because they see human beings as dispendable and disposable. The only way that you can really do anything right now is to build some value for yourself, to leave this rat race and to build value for yourself. One thing I actually have for you guys is my course, which will teach you how to start your own YouTube business. This is a six-figure channel. I scaled this thing into a six-figure channel within 1 year. This is a six-figure channel, guys. And, I've been on YouTube for 10 years now, or a little over 10 years. And I've learned so much that you have to understand YouTube is like a video game. And it's all about learning how to play the game. When you learn how to play the game, that's when you win. Okay? You don't need 50,000 subscribers like I have, or 100,000 or a million. What people don't tell you is that the subscribers don't mean anything. They matter, but then they don't matter. You know, for a lot of people, there are people who have 500 subscribers and they are making a couple $100,000 a year on YouTube. I'm just being real with you. There are people who have 10,000 subscribers and they are making easily anywhere from 10,000 to $20,000 a month in just YouTube ad revenue. And I know you're like angry that's impossible. The reason why is because the views don't matter. What actually matters on YouTube is watch time. Watch time, watch time, watch time. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Understanding how to craft a channel, how to build a business, a brand on this platform is very important. So if you want to check out my course that teaches you how to build a successful YouTube channel, you can go down to the description of the video and you can find a link to my YouTube course, because that's one of the things you guys have to do. You guys have to start building something for yourself. All right. Many of you are like, well, I'm just gonna wait until everything goes to hell and then I'll become like a bicycle warrior. I'll just watch society burn. But it doesn't work like that. You'll suffer long before that. And many of you think that passing away comes easy. It doesn't come. DEATH does not come as easy as you think. All right, there's a lot of pain and suffering a lot of the time before you finally get there. And sometimes it takes decades, all right? Unless you self-control alt delete and speed it up. And some of you guys are like, don't tempt me. Well, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Many of you won't do it. Some of you will. And if you do, that's, it's like, you want a pat on the back? Like, get the fuck out of here. You have to build something for yourself. One of the best places to start is on YouTube. So definitely consider a channel. But this young man has it right. He really does realize that things have just not been normal since.
Dating. I don't know if y'all are married, y'all have been with people, been with someone for a while. Dating has not been the same since 2020. Now, a lot of that has to do with where we're at socially. Just men and women. It's like we're on two completely different spectrums. But pre-2020, dating was normal, bro. You could look at someone and be like, I could see a future with them. You can't do that anymore. The future. I want you to honestly think. Now, I'm in a different boat. I am pretty optimistic about my future, but when you think about life, do you really think 5 years from now? It's like something weird where you can't even really like think long term, because it's almost like I don't even know what will happen by then. You know? It's like it's hard to think about a future if you don't think the world has one. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't see. Like, it'll be 2025 in a couple months. In 5 years, we'll be in 2029, and it'll almost be. But basically, in 5 years, it'll be 2030. Do you guys really see a world in 2030? Like, can you look 5 years from now and be like, this is where I'll be, or this is where the world will be? Or I can't, maybe I'm that way because like the past year I've kind of seen you can plan all you want, but really you don't have any say at the end of the day. You can plan to be somewhere in a year, but you don't really have any control of that. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. How do you know what's going to happen a year from now? What I'm saying is more so, I can't even picture a world in 2030. I remember I was in high school and I could picture myself when I was 25. I could picture myself when I was 21, Like when I was 18, I could picture a world 5 years. Like, I can't do that anymore. Like, I have no idea where I'll be when I'm 31. And it's only been that way since after 2020, bro.
You see, we were told you will own nothing and be happy, but the world is heading in a place where if the human spirit is now broken, you're only going to have people falling into deeper states of despair and chaos. I mean, I don't know, guys. You look at how humanity is after the events of 2020. There are many people who will say that, those 4 years that people spent suffering, it meant literally nothing. It's so amazing how so many people will deny these things. And you have to understand, we have evil amongst us. There are so many people who are absolutely evil. It's like the ponies, when it comes to video games. So you have these groups of people like, PlayStation fans. Right now, a PlayStation Pro costs almost $800, 700, almost $800 with all the accessories. It's really evil what they're doing. And the ponies are basically on YouTube like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's a good deal, and it's all kind of, and these are just nasty people, very very nasty people. And it's like that in general with people who supported what happened, supported the events of 2020 and continue to tell people to shut up about it. And no matter what happens, they don't care. They will turn a blind eye regardless. It's it's a form of evil. It's a form of wanting control. It's people who want humanity to be controlled. It's people who want to control you. It's people who hate you. It's people who don't like humanity. And it's a very serious situation. It's a horrible state of affairs. It's terrible what we're currently in. If the world currently feels hopeless, it does. It's and everything is about money right now, where everyone just wants their bag. Everyone just wants to get theirs, and it's sad. It's really, really sad. I mean, you look at the cost of food today, and food has gone up 4 to 5 times since 2020. Groceries now cost 4 times more, 4 to 5 times more than they did in 2019. 4 to 5. And what people do is like they'll go to the Walmart app and they'll basically just like, and this is just for groceries, food. They'll go to the Walmart app and they'll just like tap reorder. And like, for an order that they made through Instacart in 2020 and, through from Walmart. And like, let's say like, it was $100 in 2020 for those groceries. They tap on a reorder for the exact same items, and it'll show that it's now $400 for the exact same items. But wages have not increased significantly. It's insane. How are people supposed to live? How are people supposed to survive? You have a lot of simps are suddenly having their come to Jesus moment where like they're turning away and they want to engage, and they want to repent for simping. Guys, simps are opportunists. They're opportunists. Let me explain something to you. These simps aren't loyal. The truth is that they see the writing on the wall. And this is just about self-preservation. I've warned you about simps for a long time. I told you that simping is just their way of surviving. Okay? They are not fighting for women, they're fighting for themselves. Now that they see the writing on the wall, a lot of them are like, yeah, time to get the fuck up out of here. Time to switch sides. They will always be simps, but time to switch sides. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that none of these men are able to change. There are some men who are just tired of suffering and they finally make the choice to change. But a lot of these simps, the writing is on the wall. The economy is going to hell. This woke bandwagon, supporting the liberation of this certain individuals. They've taken it as far as they can take it. And of course, there are men who will always double down. But we're beginning to see gradually a lot of simps are beginning to wake up, not necessarily wake up, but walk away. Because they knew what the fuck they were doing all along. They just didn't give a damn because there were incentives for them. There were incentives for them to betray men. There were incentives for them to operate as agents of the state. But it's becoming increasingly less profitable. And be careful, don't let these simps gaslight you, because there are going to be a lot of men like Destiny who they were terrible to men, they did horrible things to men as a whole, and now they're going to try to gaslight you and act like, they never said these things or what they said was something different. This is why George Carlin says never argue with stupid people, because they will beat you with experience. And that's why you don't argue with these types of people, okay? Because they will take you in every direction except for the right one. Okay, and they don't give a fuck about what you have to say. It's all about them. These are self-centered jackasses. It's a miserable state of affairs. It's an absolute miserable state of affairs. And right now, the new American dream for most people is to leave America. Most modern women will not survive elsewhere. I showed you guys a video of this woman who was having her Japanese boyfriend prepare meals for her. And she was like, oh my gosh, my life is so wonderful being able to eat like this every single day. Like, she literally went to Japan and now she has this man making her meals every day. I'll tell you something funny about the Japanese. The Japanese are interesting. I'll share something with you.
This is what my Japanese boyfriend cooked us for dinner tonight. So for the main dish, he's making a dish that he used to make when he went to college in the States, and he did his best to save money by learning how to ground his own chicken, which is super impressive. And it's crazy to think that now he's using all those skills he learned to cook us a whole freaking meal. So the dish he's making right now is called torisoborodon, which is a very classic Japanese rice bowl that's usually made with rice, marinated and simmered down ground chicken with a side of fluffy scrambled eggs. And he always makes sure that we have some sort of vegetables as a side, so today he used the chicken skin to add extra flavor to the oil that'll be used for the vegetable stir fry. Today's stir fry consists of Japanese mustard spinach called komatsuna and also some bean sprouts. For soup, he's making a classic miso soup but with a twist of adding enoki mushrooms, which I absolutely love. And just like that, he's done with making our 3-course meal with a side of greens, some soup, and of course the main character, the torisoborodon. I don't know what I did to deserve eating like this every day, but I sure as heck can't go back.
I sure as heck can't go back. So basically, guys, this woman went to Japan, found herself a Japanese guy, made him her bitch, and now he puts on his apron and prepares meals for her every single day. And not just any meals, but 3-course meals, because remember that cooking and cleaning are oppression and disrespectful to women. They are a form of patriarchy if a woman does them, but it's perfectly fine to have a man cooking and cleaning for you and doing all the other things for you. I actually talked about this in a video, and I made this in my previous video, and I said it already. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. You know, the Japanese, you have to remember, the Japanese are polite, but the Japanese are not kind. And this dude will just vanish on her one day. Like, that's just like he'll eventually. Japanese can be kind of passive aggressive. Like, they will say nothing, but it will build up inside of them. And, you know, they'll just basically ghost you. And this guy might just disappear from her life one day because he has to go work a job. And Japanese companies, the hours can be very hard. So he's working long hours, possibly, then to come home and provide for her, cook and clean for her. And it's like, how is that supposed to be a normal relationship? You know, it's really, really sick, and it's really, really sad. And women, of course, are looking like, yes, girl, yes, that's what I'll do. I'll go to another country and find me a man like this, a real man like this who will cook and clean and do everything and provide. Because that's a real man. Yas, girl, yas, queen. We are goddesses, queen. We don't have to, we're not supposed to be out here doing this type of thing. All right, patriarchy, patriarchy. Guys, this is crazy. This is some sick shit. Sick shit that modern women are doing. And ultimately, this is only going to further push more men away. Most women are not going to find men that are going to do these things. All right, finding broken and easily manipulated men. The simps are running away. The simps are beginning to run away. You know, in Western society, men are basically refusing to have relationships. They're refusing to talk. They're refusing to engage. And women are like, what's going on? Why don't the men want to approach us? What's wonderful about this is that women will never take any accountability. All right? They will take no accountability. The most that they will do is to say that feminism got us everything that we wanted and now let's fight it together. And many of you are idiots, because I've told you countless times, do not blame feminism. Feminism is just an ideology. You have to go after the people who took advantage of the ideology. You have to basically hold the people who brought us the ideology accountable. The ideology didn't create these problems. The people who instituted and exploited the ideology created these problems. It's like Venezuela right now. Why would you blame socialism when the reality is it's the people who brought us socialism, who brought socialism to Venezuela? It's Hugo Chavez. It's Maduro. How the hell, guys, could you imagine like saying socialism is the problem, so Maduro could then turn around and say he's just a victim of socialism as well. He meant the best for Venezuela. He really did, and it was you know, a failure of institution, but his heart was in the right place. This is an evil motherfucker. This is an evil motherfucker, okay? And allowing these people to use these just to hide behind the ideology and blame the ideology as bullshit. You have to hold the individual accountable for the things that they've said and the things that they've done. Don't blame, feminism did not take advantage of women. Women took full advantage of feminism. You have to remember that the first wave feminists, the suffragettes, they were considered enemies of the state. They were imprisoned, and it was because of simps not wanting to see them, waste away in prison anymore, why they ended up getting the right to vote for their bad behavior. Also, guys, don't forget to check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse, get insights on top cryptocurrency picks, exclusive podcasts, and Manosphere topics. Free subscribers enjoy access to chat, videos, podcasts, and all blog posts. Paid subscribers unlock everything, including exclusive guides, blueprints for wealth building, and up-to-date analysis of what's happening around us. Everything from world events to the world of crypto. Support the channel by becoming a paid subscriber for just $8 per month, and also claim your free passive income blueprint when you subscribe. Don't miss out. Click the link in the description to subscribe now.
We're living in such weird times. Like, just think, man. These times are so weird. We just had the presidential election last night. And it was almost like I want to be optimistic about the future, but we're living in such weird times. It's almost like we have to be realistic at the same time. Like, I want y'all to think about something. All right? It wasn't maybe 2 months ago Donald Trump was almost assassinated? Who talks about that? Have you heard anyone talk about that? It's like it happened and then a week later we forgot about it. That's how odd times we're living in, where a former president of the United States was almost assassinated. Like, bro, like, skimmed him. Like a millimeter to the right. He's dead. And it's like we just forgot about it a week later. Like, we're living in very bizarre times. Where we literally forget what happened last week. What were you doing last week? And I can honestly say, like truly, I believe it's been this way since 2020.
I've absolutely noticed it myself, and I've been thinking about it. Like, he mentions that, that whole thing happened, like, back in July, where Donald Trump almost got Control-Alt-Deleted. What's very interesting about that, however, is that after he made this video, after this young man made this video, he made this a few weeks ago. He made this video on September 11, 2024. And, I'm recording this video on September 30th. So literally just like a little over 2 weeks ago, he made this video. And crazy enough, shortly after he makes this video, someone tries again. Someone tries again to Control-Alt-Delete President Trump. And guess what? We've already forgotten about it. No one is talking about it anymore. The media has completely moved on, and they're still saying that they're still referring to him as a problem, saying that he's a danger to democracy. No, guys, this is how things are. Our lives have become so miserable. We've become so disconnected from reality. Many of you don't even realize how disconnected you are from reality, because you'll just straight up tell me you don't give a fuck. That's just to show you how disconnected you are. Because to survive at this point, it's like we just have to move on. I keep thinking about it that if Trump was Control-Alt-Deleted, it wouldn't even... Many of us would be very sad about it. We'd move on very quickly. There's the notion that, obviously there would potentially be protests and so forth. A lot of people would just move on very quickly. and say, yeah, well, it's just tyranny. We're stuck in tyranny. This is basically it for us. We're fucked. We have to survive because our lives are so miserable for the average person. There's like very little happiness, very little joy. There's some people who will say it's not true, which is like, but it's bullshit. The average person is not happy. The average person does not see much of a future right now. And don't get me wrong, there are some people who are making quite a bit of money right now, and they basically just don't give a fuck. Okay? But so many people are suffering right now. So many people are stressed out right now. So many people don't know how they're going to survive, what they're going to do next. So many people feel lost right now. That is really the case. And it's sad. It's sad as hell. The writing is on the wall when it comes to women. A lot of women right now are heading into extraordinary states of poverty and destitution. I got an email from one of my subscribers who works in collections, and he shared this message. He said, "Hey, Angry, I often listen to your videos on YouTube and find them entertaining. Keep up the good work, brother. I wanted to write to you and offer some personal insight that might be content worthy. I have worked in debt collection on behalf of some major banks since 2015, and have noticed a significant increase in female customers lately. 10 years ago, I talked about a 50-50 male-female customer ratio. However, lately, it's been more like a 30-70 split male-female. When reviewing the records, I typically see that men tend to carry low balances unless the debt was taken for business purposes, whereas the majority of females I speak with very often over-limit credit cards. I'm sure this is not really surprising, as this information has been largely known for a while. The interesting insight is when it comes to customers applying for hardships, where we have noticed a significant increase in females applying for hardship, with the reason being due to either DV or family reasons, separation. I don't have stats on this, but based on my experience and interpretation of calls received, this number used to be around 20%, but now feels like it's increased to about 40 to 50% of cases. I can't help but smile silently during some of the conversations I have. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. You see, what women did was they priced themselves out of the market. They put themselves in a position where men would ultimately say, you know what, the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. Women were not designed to live without a husband. Women basically need a floorboard, they need a base. The husband is a base for a woman, they are the backup plan. So even when women are careless with their own money, they will still have a man to provide them with the basics of living: a roof over their head, clothing, money in their pocket, food, food, shelter, clothing, the basics of the basic necessities of life. This is, this is how it works. This is why the state can't really do much in this case. If the state started telling men, well, we're going to tax you if you don't get married or have a wife, men would rather pay the tax than get married. Men would rather, because what, you get married, then you have children, and what that ultimately leads to you becoming a debt slave, on for child support, or now she could take half your shit in divorce court and get you on alimony. Men would basically just pay the higher taxes, and it would just cut down the amount of money that they earn. So if the government starts taxing you more, you're just going to work less. That's where things are ultimately going. As I'm seeing right now, what's also happening with gaming, where the cost of games are skyrocketing and everything's going up. I'm beginning to realize, even though I did not like the idea of having to do this, the importance of owning physical media. Because when you purchase video games that are digital, when you purchase music that is digital, when you purchase movies and television shows that are digital, you don't actually own anything. Forget about the thing, the notion that you cannot transfer it to anyone else. So a lot of people are like, well, I'm fine with that as long as I can always access it. Nope. The truth of the matter is that they can revoke that license at any time. For example, if some of the content in the movie expires, or the for example, the license for the music in the video game expires, they can just remove it from your computer. They can go onto your computer and snatch it off, take it out of your library, and you get no refund, and you're screwed. And if you don't like it, well, you can take it up with them in court. But you can't, because they have you in a arbitration clause where everything has to be settled in arbitration. And typically in these arbitrations, they rule in the favor of the company. And the arbitrator will simply say, well, you basically sign these terms, so you should have read the terms before you sign them, because according to these terms, you don't actually own anything. All right, you will own nothing and be happy. You owned absolutely nothing, and you basically agreed that you were just licensing this media, and they could take it away whenever they felt like it. That's how things are going. We are living in a horrible, horrible state of existence where you will own nothing, and everything will require a subscription plan. If you want to buy food, it's a subscription plan. If you want to order food from Walmart, it's a subscription plan. And at first, it makes it seems like things are more affordable. But then eventually, it just for example, you have Uber Eats, and it's like everyone has to have a subscription plan, but everything's still expensive. So now it's $30 to have your food delivered, or instead of 60. It's insane shit. Absolutely insane shit that's going on. And this is why so many generations are feeling hopeless right now. For many women, the future is going to be increased amounts of poverty, destitution, and significant hardship. And I've said this already, that you're going to have a lot of women living in shelters, living in tent cities, living in the streets, living even in the woods. It's going to be an extraordinary amount of poverty, and men are not going to bail them out this time. Men are just going to continue going their own way, and society will then turn around and condemn men while asking, how did women end up in the horrible condition that they are in now? Because come 2030, half of all women, 45% of all women between the ages of 25 and 44 will be childless and single. That's not counting single moms. Then you're looking at somewhere between 70 and 90% of women being single, and men basically keeping all their toys for themselves. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Do you guys agree nothing has been the same since 2020? I wonder why. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWAM and walking away. And cheers.